So Tony Alford, there we go. Dick, I appreciate you all too. I have no feeling.
Love it.
Nick, just remember, I picked your team to win it all, man. I picked your team to win it all. So
I'm high on
like I should have some. I should have some notoriety with Purdue fans now.
John Diadamo in here just in time.
Hello, John. Good to have you here. We're just going to talk some Michigan football here and some Ohio State football. So the best topic.
Yep.
Yes. Oh, I got here just in time for Tony Alford. All right, so Tony Alford, I'll let you guys share your opinions here in just a second. I'm just going to give mine really fast, which is and if nobody knows what's going on, which I assume most people do, but at the end of the day, Tony Alford was the running back coach for Ohio State. In the middle of the night, kind of like Trev Alberts, he left at like 9:30 one morning, and apparently all of Ohio State was scrambling because they didn't know that this was happening. I don't know how much it caught him off guard, but Ryan Day said in a press conference today that it pretty much caught them all off guard, and they weren't expecting him to just up and leave in the middle of spring ball. So obviously he was able to leave without many people knowing, and I don't know if that was his plan or what that gets him. I know that there were some Michigan reporters saying that, he took some playbook stuff and recruiting stuff with him. If he did, great. We're like a week into spring ball, so I don't know how much of a playbook you're actually going to have, but if it helps, it helps. Sure.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I feel like both parties kind of won out here. And I know that Michigan fans are going to be in the chat like, oh, Ohio State fan thinking you're still great. And that's fine. If you know me, I'm pretty impartial. I'm not super biased. I am a fan, so I do have some bias. But at the end of the day, I feel like Ohio State feels like they have a very, very good running back room that's going to attract a good running back coach. The rumor right now is DeMarco Murray from Oklahoma is coming over, or Robert Gillespie from Alabama is coming over. Those are apparently the two big candidates right now. But Tony Alford is a really good recruiter. And, there have been some Ohio State fans that have tried to downgrade his recruiting a little bit lately. And I get that. At the end of the day, he's brought in, highly rated backs, not in 2023, but he's also lost some recently. So, but you're going to get that in college football. So I feel like personally, both parties kind of won out here. Michigan got to improve their recruiting in some ways. They got to move on from Mike Hart, and Ohio State, I know not every Michigan fan will believe me. That's fine. But, reports are, whether you believe them or not, that Tony Alford kind of had the heat on him put in January. And that was, he didn't get his extension. He didn't get a raise. And so that's kind of what made him upset and why he left. And, it is what it is. It's football. It's big business. It's not always going to make everybody happy. And I think if you're just trying to make people happy, you're probably doing it wrong. So, Zach, I know that you've paid close attention to the situation as well. Why do you think Tony Alford left for Michigan, and just overall your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head that I think there was a bit of, I don't want to say bitterness, but maybe a sour taste because Tony Alford did not get an extension. And, I think Jeremy Birmingham, who is one of the beat writers in Columbus, even hinted at the fact that Ryan Day may have said, hey, you should go to this coaching clinic to look at other jobs. Now I don't know how accurate that is. That's just something that was reported by a well-respected beat writer on the Columbus beat. That being said, I don't think any Ohio State fan, at least any reasonable Ohio State fan, would say that Tony Alford's a scrub. He's a great position coach.
Yeah, if they're doing that, they're just coping. I mean,
right.
He's a good coach.
He's a good coach. He's been a very good recruiter. When we talk about misses, we're talking about, he missed on Bijan Robinson, right? Oh, he missed on the best running back in the world ever. He missed on a couple of elite guys because there's other elite schools for running backs. Yeah. In other news, water is wet. That being said, Tony Alford is a really good position coach. And I do think he's as good as Mike Hart was. I think he is a little bit of an upgrade. I think he's an upgrade as a recruiter. Again, Michigan has been really good at developing, But like, if you look at the recruiting rankings for their backs, aside from Donovan Edwards, like they haven't been super, super high recruits, but they've developed into dudes, right? Like Blake Corum was a dude this year.
Yeah.
He's been a dude the past couple
Yeah,
years.
he's been a dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, that I misspoke there.
Yeah.
So like
almost won the Heisman 2 years ago.
he probably should have.
He got hurt. That's the only reason he damn near didn't.
Yeah. So all that being said, I do think it could be a win-win, because I do think Ohio State could go out and hire someone who meshes better with Chip Kelly, someone who is maybe fresh blood into that program. So I don't think I think, again, the shock, I think similar to, it's certainly not the same scale, because athletic director, favored son versus Tony Alford, who was, he was a position coach.
Just a shock.
Yeah. It's just a rival. Yeah. The rivalry shock. That's a good way to put it, Justin.
Yeah.
Go ahead. John, some questions here. I just want to address these really fast. John says, here's what I'm wondering. If OSU was over Alford, why didn't they have a replacement ready, not extending him, force his hand to play the market? Very true. I don't know why they didn't have somebody ready. And I'm not saying that every report that I've read is 100%, the right thing. That's just what I've read. If I'm being honest, I heard rumblings of Ryan Day not being happy with Tony Alford, but I never heard that he was going to fire him. The only thing I ever heard was that like Bill O'Brien would have free reign to bring in a running back coach if he wanted to. But we also heard that about offensive line, tight end, all those except wide receiver, where Brian Hartline was. So at the end of the day, like, was it something they were expecting? I don't know if they were like expecting him to leave, but I do know, I don't think they were expecting him to leave in the spring. So maybe they thought at the end of next year. And he says, even I had a Buckeye caller on my show saying they did. What did you expect the guy to do? Don't get me wrong. When you get not extended, you only have 1 year left on your deal. You get your salary cut. You go and you look somewhere else. And I think Zach's right. I think it was more the shock that he went up north like he did, rather than he left. And there does probably need to be a conversation there with, now Ryan Day is coaching the running backs all through spring, instead of having somebody on his list ready to hire. Of course, they could hire somebody tomorrow and I could be eating my words, which is fine.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, it is what it is. I'm not trying to say, something some of those Buckeye fans have been saying, that like, oh, he was on his way out, nobody wanted him here. That's not true.
Do you mind if I
think the pressure was on a little bit? Yeah, go ahead, Justin.
Do you mind if I get my thoughts on that? Because, like, to your point, right? I do agree with a lot of what all of y'all are saying. I think the truth is always somewhere in the middle of all these reports and stuff like that. So my take on it is, I think Ryan Day should have been a little bit more proactive in his decision making if he didn't want him there. He shouldn't have pulled. If he truly didn't want him there. My other thinking is that the contract thing is really just to let him know that, like, this year it's performance based. And that is, he was the only guy who didn't get an extension and an increase. And so that was his sign right there that, like, okay, it's a wake up call to him that this year is based on performance and you need to perform this year or you're out. And it's partially too, because Ryan Day is on the hot seat as well. If he doesn't, with this team perform the way he should. Now, looking at it from Tony Alford's side, he is going to a place where he can get more opportunities to grow within the staff at that university. He can get promoted much easier at Michigan with the current state of the staff than he can over at Ohio State. Another thing, too, that I think in retrospect this works out for is Chip Kelly. And that's the reason I think it might benefit Ohio State, not any other reason. Had Chip Kelly not have been the OC there, I wouldn't have thought, like, it had changed with O'Brien. I would have thought Alford was better to be in there with O'Brien. But now Chip Kelly's coming in and he's talking about he wants the offense to be, he's saying he wants it to be a collaborative effort. He said, it's not my offense, it's Ohio State's offense. And this gives him the opportunity to get in there and get a running back coach that fits his offense a little bit more. So maybe, in the collaboration that he did, because he said he collaborated with, basically everybody in the staff, Hartline, Alford, Keenan Bailey, and constructing the offense. So now he has an opportunity to get somebody who fits a little bit more of his ideals and his structures and the way he wants to run his offense. And that may help him in regards to that. And then similar to Zach's point, the recruiting over at Michigan and more opportunity for him. I think this made sense. And I think it made sense for both sides, but I think it made sense for both sides in the terms of what it does for Chip Kelly's ability to potentially go, have his input in a running back coach that is going to fit his style and what he wants to do there. So he's not going to have to adapt and change too much.
Yeah, you just would wish it wouldn't happen in the middle of spring ball. You wish that this would have been resolved in January. And I tweeted that out. I said, obviously I'm not blaming Ryan Day a ton for this, but at a certain point, to me as an Ohio State fan, I feel like Ryan Day needs to learn to be a little bit more cutthroat. He's a very nice guy. He's very much into, helping people with their mental health and all that stuff. I think that's great. I love that my coach is, has good character. However, at the end of the day, do what?
You're on the hot seat at the end of the day.
Right. Exactly. And you lose and you lose out in situations because sometimes you are too nice. If Ryan Day wanted Tony Alford gone, he should have been the one to send him packing. And he should have been the one with somebody ready to hire just in case something happened. This is twice now in the offseason where coaches have left, Bill O'Brien, which we got Chip Kelly right away after that. So, it's not that big of a deal. But, if you want a coach gone, you need to be the proactive one in getting rid of them. And I know that everybody's concerned about, dad on his, on the breadline and not, having a job, but let's not act like these guys are making $80,000 a year or, $40,000 a year. These guys are making good money. They'll be fine for a little while, not having everything. So at the end of the day, yes, Ohio State will be fine, but I still think that Ryan Day, he has to take some responsibility here and learn from this as well as he's been learning from other things. This is what you get when you hire a first-time head coach.
Because I like how people can admit that he was forced, his hand was forced, but still get mad at him for leaving and not criticize Ryan Day for not being cutthroat. Like he should have made his intents known, and it shouldn't have been a contract thing. He should have talked to him right there, set expectations, and that should have been the end of it, whether he continues or whether he's fired. But decision should have been made then. Zach,
that's a good take. Well, I was just going to say, I think where Ryan Day is going to feel it the most is the psychological advantage continues to be with Michigan. Like, if you remember in 2019, Greg Madison, Al Washington, they came over from Michigan to Ohio State, and it kind of felt like Ryan Day was the cutthroat one. He's like, I'm taking your coaches. And Al Washington wasn't the greatest coach, and Greg Madison was in the twilight of his career, but it still felt like it was a psychological dagger saying, I own you. Well, now Michigan can do the same thing, regardless of what Ohio State fans think. And as much as they try to disown Tony Alford, they still have the psychological edge. This is a win for them.
Yep.
And I think it really goes to that point. Ryan Day has struggled to be cutthroat with Michigan and cutthroat enough for Michigan ever since 2020, ever since he said, I'll hang 100 on you. And he has not hung 100 in the past 3 games combined. So, right. and now he's lost a coach over it too.
Yeah.
But I do want to make myself clear. I wish nothing but the worst for Tony Alford in his coaching career. And as reasonable as my takes are, I have irreasonable disgust for his coaching career.
Ohio State's going to go crazy this year.
I hope so.
They're going to go crazy regardless.
Lord, I need it. Please. Heart can't take it anymore.
Yeah. Feel that.
John, I appreciate you, man, but I these last 3 years have sucked. I hate him.
I feel so bad for you with all those 11 wins, and playoff. It's have all the luck.
Oh, tears in my eyes.
Cheers of joy, sadness.
We'll take Ryan Day in
all
Nebraska.
Of the above. All of the above. All right. Thanks for listening. The Big Ten Huddle. Please do like and subscribe. We appreciate that. If this was your first time listening, we are the Big Ten Huddle. We cover all things Big Ten football and basketball. We have a long episode every Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, all at 9 o'clock. So come in, check us out, get in the chat, let us know what you're thinking. We would love to have you join us and learn more about the Big Ten.